India's population had touched the 604 million mark at the end of 1975. A year later, aggressive family planning measures were adopted by the Indira Gandhi government under the National Family Planning Policy. The same year, Parliament passed the 42nd Constitutional Amendment. This did, among others, two things. It froze the number of seats or MPs each state had in Parliament as per the 1971 census. Also, the basis of allocation or distribution of central taxes to states, as decided by the Finance Commission, was frozen at the 1971 census population data. The freeze was to be in place until the first census after the year 2000 was published, but was extended to the year 2026 by the then NDA government in 2002. Between 1971 and 2011, which is the last census conducted, the population growth rate of the four southern states saw a steady decline. That was not the case with India's northern states, especially Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, which together make up a quarter of India's population. In other words, if the calculation of the number of seats or MPs a state can have in Parliament, or the percentage of tax revenues the states receive from central taxes were not to be frozen as per the 1971 census population data, it would have meant the Hindi states would have a much higher ratio of seats and would further skew the central polity already dominated by the Hindi states. Consider this fact. In the 2014 parliamentary elections, the BJP won 51% of its seats from just four states: Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar and Rajasthan. So what's the row now? Well, the Finance Commission, each commission, remember, has a remit of 5 years. So, the 15th Finance Commission, the remit of which will hold from 2020 to 2025, has decided that it will use the 2011 population data while making its recommendations and not the 1971 population data. In other words, the southern states will be penalized for having taken measures to control the population growth, and northern states are being rewarded for their failure to do so by getting a larger share of tax revenues. Leaders of the southern states have been scathing in their criticism of this move. This isn't the only part of the terms of reference of the 15th Finance Commission, though, that is being objected to. DMK leader Stalin, in a letter to chief ministers of 10 states, said the share of southern states in central taxes will come down by a substantial margin. The 15th Finance Commission will consider achievements made by states in implementation of flagship central schemes. Stalin argues progressive states like Tamil Nadu have already implemented their own socio-economic programs and achieved exemplary results well in advance of the center schemes. The Commission has also been asked to give incentives to states that have been able to control or eliminate expenditure on populist measures. Stalin asks, how can an unelected body determine which state government scheme is populist? Also, the BJP leadership's use of words suggesting the allocation of central taxes to states is some kind of largesse or dole is also something that has irked the southern states, particularly with states like Karnataka and Tamil Nadu paying a lot more tax than they receive as allocation.